The cameras flash, the crowd roars, and for a split second, the entire world seems to stop, because standing under the dazzling lights of the Academy Awards 2026 are two of the most talked about celebrities on the planet, Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. And what happens next? It's the moment no one saw coming, or maybe, the moment everyone was secretly waiting for. Before we dive deeper, make sure you stay with us until the very end, because what unfolds tonight isn't just another red carpet appearance. It's a story of rumors, pressure, public scrutiny, and a love that refuses to fade. And trust me, the final moments will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about this high-profile couple. As the night begins, anticipation hangs thick in the air. For weeks leading up to the Oscars, speculation had reached a boiling point. Were they still together? Had distance and fame quietly pulled them apart? Fans dissected every public appearance, every social media post, every subtle clue. The silence from both sides only fueled the mystery. Then, without warning, Timothee arrives. Dressed in a sleek, tailored suit that blends classic Hollywood elegance with his signature modern edge, he steps onto the red carpet alone. Cameras zoom in. Headlines begin writing themselves in real time. Is this confirmation of a breakup? Is he going solo tonight? The tension builds. But just moments later, everything changes. A black luxury car pulls up. The door opens. And out steps Kylie Jenner, radiant in a breathtaking gown that instantly commands attention. The crowd erupts. Photographers scramble. And suddenly, all eyes are locked on one question: will they acknowledge each other? For a brief, suspenseful pause, they remain apart. Then, like a scene straight out of a romantic film, Timothee turns. Their eyes meet. And in that single glance, the narrative shifts completely. He walks toward her. She smiles. And just like that, the rumors begin to crumble. They don't rush. They don't perform. Instead, they move with a quiet confidence, closing the distance between them as if the world around them doesn't exist. When they finally stand side by side, the chemistry is undeniable. Not forced. Not staged. Real. And the cameras capture everything. Hand in hand, they pose for photos, their body language speaking louder than any statement ever could. Timothee leans in slightly, whispering something that makes Kylie laugh, a genuine, unguarded moment that instantly goes viral. In an industry often criticized for its artificiality, this feels different. But here's where things get even more interesting. As they make their way inside the venue, insiders begin to notice subtle details. The way he gently places his hand on her back. The way she looks at him when she thinks no one is watching. These are not the gestures of a couple trying to prove something. These are the instincts of two people deeply connected. Still, the night is far from over. Because behind the glamour of the Academy Awards lies a pressure cooker of expectations. Every move is analyzed. Every interaction becomes a headline. And for Timothee and Kylie, the stakes couldn't be higher. Midway through the evening, during a break between awards, something unexpected happens. They disappear. For nearly 20 minutes, the couple is nowhere to be seen. Social media explodes with theories. Did they leave? Was there tension behind the scenes? Or was something else unfolding away from the cameras? When they finally return, there's a noticeable shift. They seem closer. More relaxed. More in sync. As if whatever happened during those unseen moments only strengthened their bond. And it's here that the narrative reaches its turning point. Because as the ceremony approaches its final act, the camera cuts to them once again. This time, there's no hesitation. Kylie rests her head lightly on Timothee's shoulder. He responds instinctively, leaning into her. It's subtle. Quiet. But incredibly powerful. A public display of affection that doesn't scream for attention, yet captures it completely. And in that moment, the message becomes clear. Despite the rumors, despite the scrutiny, despite the relentless spotlight, their connection remains intact. The climax of the night doesn't come from an award announcement or a dramatic speech. It comes from something far more human: authenticity. Because in a world driven by perception, Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner just did something rare. They showed something real. As the night ends and they walk out together, side by side, there's no grand statement, no official confirmation, no carefully crafted narrative. They don't need one. Their actions have already said everything. And just like that, the story that once seemed uncertain now feels undeniably clear. Their love isn't fading. It's evolving. So what does this mean moving forward? Is this the beginning of a stronger, more public chapter for the couple? Or will they retreat once again into privacy, letting moments like this speak for themselves? One thing is certain: after tonight, the world will be watching more closely than ever. If you've made it this far, you already know, this wasn't just another red carpet story. This was a turning point. And if you want more deep dives into the biggest celebrity moments shaping Hollywood right now, make sure you stay connected, because the next story might be even bigger. And just when it seemed like the story had already reached its peak, the night had one more layer to reveal, one that fans wouldn't fully understand until hours later. Because as clips from the Academy Awards 2026 began circulating online, something unusual started to stand out. It wasn't just the obvious moments, the hand-holding, the shared smiles, the quiet intimacy. It was the in-between seconds. The micro-expressions. The almost invisible details that only the most observant fans could catch. Frame by frame, the internet dissected everything. And what they found? It only made the story more compelling. At one point during the ceremony, while the camera panned across the audience, Timothée Chalamet was seen subtly adjusting Kylie Jenner's seat, making sure she was comfortable before sitting back down himself. It lasted less than 2 seconds, but it spoke volumes. Not performative. Not exaggerated. Just instinctive care. Then came another moment, blink and you miss it. As applause filled the room after a major award announcement, Kylie instinctively reached for Timothee's hand under the table. The camera didn't fully capture it, but a slight movement, a shift in posture, and the softest smile on her face gave it away. Fans replayed the clip over and over again, turning a fleeting gesture into one of the most talked about highlights of the night. But here's where the narrative takes a deeper turn. Because behind all the glamour, behind the viral clips and trending hashtags, there's a reality that often gets overlooked: the pressure of living a relationship in the public eye. For months, both Timothee and Kylie had been under intense scrutiny. Every appearance questioned. Every absence analyzed. And yet, instead of addressing the rumors directly, they chose something far more powerful. They showed up. Together. And not in a way that felt staged or strategic, but in a way that felt natural, almost effortless. And that's exactly what made it so impactful. Still, the tension didn't completely disappear. Because as the after-parties began, a new question emerged: would they stay together through the entire night, or would they once again go their separate ways, fueling a fresh wave of speculation? The first stop, one of the most exclusive gatherings of the evening, where Hollywood's biggest names celebrate behind closed doors. Inside, the atmosphere shifts. Less formal. More intimate. And according to insiders, this is where things became even more revealing. Away from the structured environment of the awards ceremony, Timothee and Kylie appeared completely at ease. They weren't performing for cameras anymore. They weren't standing under blinding lights. This was different. They were just themselves. At one point, they were spotted in a quiet corner, deep in conversation. No phones. No distractions. Just the two of them, fully present. and for those who witnessed it, the energy was unmistakable. This wasn't a couple trying to prove anything. This was a couple that didn't need to. But then, another twist. As the night continued, a brief moment of separation sparked a new wave of curiosity. Timothee was seen mingling across the room, while Kylie engaged with a different group. For a few minutes, they existed in separate spaces. And just like that, the questions returned. Was this intentional? Were they creating distance? Or was it simply the natural flow of a crowded, high-profile event? The answer came sooner than expected. Because in a moment that would later dominate headlines, Timothee crossed the room, cutting through conversations, weaving past guests, until he reached Kylie once again. No hesitation. No second thought. Just a direct, deliberate return. And when he got there, he didn't just stand beside her. He placed his hand gently on her waist, pulling her slightly closer. A small gesture, but one that instantly shifted the entire narrative back into focus. This wasn't distance. This was choice. And that distinction changed everything. By the time they left the party, side by side once again, the story had fully transformed. What began as speculation had evolved into something far more concrete, not through words, but through consistent, undeniable actions. As footage from the night continued to spread across social media, fans and media outlets alike began reaching the same conclusion. This wasn't just a moment. It was a statement. Not the loud, headline-grabbing kind, but the quiet, confident kind that lingers longer and resonates deeper. And yet, even with all of this, one question still remains: what happens next? Because if there's one thing we've learned from following high-profile relationships, it's that moments like these can either mark a turning point, or simply a chapter in an ongoing story. Will Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner embrace a more public version of their relationship moving forward? Will they continue to let their actions speak in rare but powerful appearances like this? Or will they once again retreat from the spotlight, leaving fans to piece together the story from fragments? The truth is, we don't know. And maybe that's exactly what makes this so captivating. Because in an era where everything is shared, documented, and explained in real time, there's something incredibly compelling about a story that still holds a sense of mystery. A story that unfolds not through statements, but through moments. And if the Oscars 2026 proved anything, it's this. Some connections don't need to be explained. They just need to be seen. So as the lights fade, the red carpet is rolled away, and the headlines continue to circulate, one thing is certain: the world will be watching closely for the next chapter of this story. Because if tonight was any indication, it's far from over. And when the next moment comes, you can be sure of one thing: it won't just be watched. It will be felt. And just when the story feels like it has settled, when the headlines have been written, the clips have gone viral, and the public thinks they've seen it all, another layer quietly begins to unfold. Because what happened after the Academy Awards 2026 didn't just stay in that room. It followed them. In the hours after the event, social media platforms lit up with millions of reactions. Fans, critics, and insiders all tried to decode the same question: what exactly did we witness tonight? Was it a carefully managed appearance, or something far more genuine? The answer wasn't immediate. But then, new footage began to surface. Unfiltered. Unedited. Caught from angles the main broadcast never showed. In one clip, as they exited the venue, Kylie Jenner is seen slightly adjusting her dress while navigating through a tight crowd. Before anyone else can react, Timothée Chalamet instinctively steps in, not in a dramatic or attention-seeking way, but with a quiet awareness, creating space for her, guiding her forward with a subtle gesture. It's quick. Almost invisible. But it's real. And that authenticity becomes the driving force behind everything that follows. Because as more clips emerge, a pattern begins to take shape. Not a scripted pattern. Not a PR narrative. But a natural rhythm between two people who clearly understand each other on a deeper level. Another video shows them sharing a brief laugh just before getting into their car. No cameras directly in front of them. No red carpet. Just a moment of release after an intense night. And it's here, away from the spotlight, that their connection feels the strongest. But then comes the turning point that truly reignites the conversation. A source, someone who was present throughout the night, reveals a detail that hadn't been captured on camera. During one of the quieter moments inside the venue, when the energy had dipped and the focus shifted away from the main stage, Kylie reportedly leaned in and said something to Timothee that caused him to pause, and then smile in a way that, according to witnesses, was different. Not the polite smile seen on red carpets. Not the playful grin fans are used to. Something softer. More personal. And whatever she said? No one else heard it. That mystery alone sends the internet into overdrive. Speculation explodes. Theories multiply. And suddenly, the narrative evolves once again, not just about what was seen, but about what wasn't. Because sometimes, the most powerful moments are the ones that remain private. And in a world where almost everything is exposed, that privacy becomes incredibly rare and incredibly intriguing. As the night transitions into early morning, the couple's movements continue to be tracked, not in an invasive way, but in the way modern celebrity culture operates. Every sighting, every interaction, every detail contributes to a larger story being built in real time. They arrive at another location. Smaller. More exclusive. Far from the chaos of the main after-parties. And this is where the energy shifts completely. No flashing cameras. No crowded entrances. Just a controlled, intimate environment where the outside noise finally fades. According to those inside, Timothee and Kylie spend most of their time together, not circulating separately, not engaging in constant networking, but staying close. Present. Connected. At one point, music fills the room, and a small group gathers near the center. It's not a full dance floor, more like an organic moment where people let their guard down. And then, it happens. Timothee reaches for Kylie's hand again. Not for the cameras. Not for attention. Just because. They move slightly to the rhythm, not performing, not drawing focus, but simply existing in the moment. And for those who witness it, it becomes one of the most genuine scenes of the entire night. No headlines capture it immediately. No viral clip spreads within minutes. But those who see it? They remember it. Because it feels different from everything else. And maybe that's the real story here. Not the red carpet. Not the speculation. Not even the public displays of affection. But the quiet consistency of two people choosing each other, again and again, throughout a night designed to test even the strongest connections. As the hours pass and the night finally comes to an end, there's one final image that begins to circulate. It's not high definition. It's not professionally shot. But it might be the most powerful of all. A slightly blurred photo of Timothee and Kylie walking away, side by side, backs turned to the camera, disappearing into the early morning. No poses. No expressions. Just movement. Forward. Together. And somehow, that image says more than everything that came before it. Because after all the noise, all the attention, all the analysis, what remains is something simple. Something undeniable. They didn't just show up. They stayed. They didn't just appear united. They moved as one. And in a world that constantly questions, dissects, and demands answers, maybe that's enough. But as this chapter closes, a new question quietly takes its place. What happens when the spotlight fades completely? When there are no cameras, no events, no expectations? Does the connection remain just as strong? Or does the reality of everyday life introduce a different kind of challenge? We don't have that answer yet. But if there's one thing the Oscars 2026 has made clear, it's this. Whatever they have, it's not fragile. It's not temporary. It's something that has already faced pressure and chosen to hold. So as the world continues to watch, to speculate, to analyze every move, one truth quietly stands above the rest. This story isn't defined by rumors. It's defined by moments. And if tonight proved anything, it's that the most important moments are still unfolding. Not in front of the cameras, but somewhere just beyond them. And that's exactly where the real story begins. And just when it feels like every possible angle has been explored, every glance analyzed, every gesture replayed, every theory debated, the story refuses to slow down. Because the real impact of the Academy Awards 2026 doesn't end when the night is over. It evolves. By the next morning, the conversation has shifted from what happened to something far more powerful. What does it mean? Clips continue to circulate, but now they're being viewed differently. Not as isolated moments, but as pieces of a larger puzzle. Fans begin connecting dots that weren't obvious before. The timing of their arrivals. The consistency of their interactions. The subtle synchronization in the way they moved, reacted, and responded to each other. And suddenly, a new narrative begins to take shape. This wasn't spontaneous. But it also wasn't staged. It was intentional. Not in the sense of performance, but in the sense of presence. Because in a world where public figures often control every aspect of how they're seen, what Timothee and Kylie did felt almost unfiltered. And that's exactly why it resonated so deeply. But just as this interpretation gains momentum, another layer quietly enters the conversation. Industry insiders. People who understand how these events work behind the scenes. People who know the difference between a planned appearance and a genuine moment. And according to several voices within that space, what unfolded between Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner didn't follow the usual script. There were no coordinated entrances together. No overly polished photo opportunities designed to dominate headlines. No obvious attempts to control the narrative. Instead, what they saw was something far more rare: adaptability. The ability to navigate a high-pressure environment without losing the authenticity of the connection. And that observation changes everything. Because it suggests that what the audience witnessed wasn't about proving a point. It was about living in the moment. Still, the tension doesn't fully disappear. Because with every positive reaction comes an equal wave of skepticism. Critics question whether the moments were strategically timed. Whether the subtlety itself was part of a larger image strategy. Whether, in a media landscape driven by perception, anything can truly be taken at face value. And it's a fair question. But here's where things take another unexpected turn. A new clip surfaces, one that hadn't gained attention during the initial wave of coverage. It's not from the red carpet. It's not from inside the main ceremony. It's from a transitional moment, one of those in-between spaces where people assume no one is really watching. In the footage, Kylie appears momentarily overwhelmed by the crowd pressing in from all sides. It's brief. Almost imperceptible. But there's a shift in her posture, a slight hesitation. And then Timothee notices. There's no dramatic reaction. No sudden movement. Just a subtle change in his focus. He steps closer, not abruptly, but deliberately, creating a small but noticeable barrier between her and the surrounding chaos. It's instinctive, protective, and completely unforced. That clip alone begins to reshape even the most skeptical perspectives. Because it's not the kind of moment you plan. It's the kind of moment that reveals who someone is when they're not thinking about being seen. And once again, the narrative deepens. Because now, the conversation isn't just about whether they're together. It's about how they are together. The dynamic. The balance. The unspoken understanding that seems to exist between them. As the day continues, major media outlets begin releasing their own analyses. Headlines range from cautious optimism to bold declarations. Some call it a defining moment for the couple. Others describe it as a quiet confirmation of what fans had hoped all along. But interestingly, neither Timothee nor Kylie responds. No statements. No posts. No clarifications. And that silence? It becomes part of the story. Because in an age where immediacy is expected, where every moment is followed by an explanation, their decision to say nothing feels almost disruptive. And yet, it works. Because the absence of words forces the focus back onto the moments themselves. And those moments continue to speak. Hours turn into a full day. Then another. And instead of fading, the conversation holds. Not because of new content, but because of the depth of what's already been seen. People aren't just watching. They're rewatching, reanalyzing, reinterpreting. And every time they do, they seem to find something new. A glance that lasts half a second longer than expected. A synchronized movement that suggests familiarity. A comfort level that can't easily be faked. And slowly, almost quietly, a consensus begins to form. Not unanimous. Not definitive. But strong. What happened at the Oscars 2026 wasn't about spectacle. It was about substance. And in a landscape built on spectacle, that makes it stand out even more. But just as the story begins to settle into that interpretation, one final question lingers, one that hasn't been fully answered. What happens when they step back into their individual worlds? Because beyond the red carpets and the events, Timothee and Kylie exist in very different spaces. Different industries. Different rhythms. Different demands. And maintaining a connection across those differences requires something more than just chemistry. It requires consistency. Effort. Choice. And while the Oscars gave the world a glimpse of what they have, it didn't reveal how they sustain it. That part of the story remains unseen. For now. But if there's one thing this entire sequence of events has proven, it's that their story doesn't rely on constant visibility. It doesn't need daily updates. It doesn't require validation through words. Because when they do choose to be seen, when they step into the same space, under the same lights, the connection becomes undeniable. And maybe that's the real takeaway. Not just that their relationship is still strong, but that it's strong enough to exist both in the spotlight and outside of it. So as the world continues to speculate, to analyze, to wait for the next appearance, the next moment, the next clue, there's a quiet understanding beginning to take hold. This isn't a story that's being rushed. It's unfolding at its own pace. On its own terms. And if what we witnessed was any indication, the next chapter won't need an announcement. It will reveal itself. In another glance. Another gesture. Another moment that says everything, without saying a word. And when that moment comes, you won't just see it. You'll recognize it. Because now, you know exactly what to look for. And just when it seems like the story has reached its natural conclusion, when the footage has been analyzed, the headlines have settled, and the public begins to shift its attention elsewhere, something unexpected happens. The silence starts to speak louder than the moment itself. Because days after the Academy Awards 2026, neither Timothée Chalamet nor Kylie Jenner has said a single word about what the world witnessed. No interviews. No social media confirmations. Not even a subtle acknowledgement. And that absence? It begins to shift the narrative in a completely new direction. At first, fans expected something, anything. A behind-the-scenes photo. A casual mention. A hint that would validate what everyone believed they saw. But as hours turn into days, and days into nearly a full week, that expected response never comes. Instead, something else takes its place. Interpretation. Because without an official explanation, the audience is left with only one thing to rely on: the moments themselves. And those moments begin to take on a life of their own. Clips are slowed down even further. Angles are compared. Expressions are studied like evidence in an ongoing investigation. And what emerges isn't confusion, it's clarity. Not the kind of clarity that comes from being told what something means, but the kind that forms when multiple perspectives begin to align. When thousands, even millions of viewers independently arrive at the same conclusion. That what they saw felt real. But just as that consensus begins to solidify, a new variable enters the equation. Distance. Because while the Oscars brought them into the same space, the days that follow pull them back into their individual worlds. Different cities. Different schedules. Different demands that don't pause for public curiosity. And this is where most stories like this begin to fade. Out of sight. Out of mind. Replaced by the next headline, the next viral moment, the next story competing for attention. But this one doesn't. Because instead of disappearing, it lingers. Quietly. Subtly. In ways that aren't immediately obvious, but are impossible to ignore once noticed. It starts with something small. A public appearance. Timothee, attending an industry event on his own. Cameras flash, questions are asked, attention is intense. And while he maintains his usual composure, there's a difference, something in the way he carries himself that feels slightly more grounded, more centered. At the same time, across a different part of the spotlight, Kylie steps out for a separate engagement. Different setting. Different audience. But the same subtle shift. Confidence. Ease. A sense of calm that contrasts with the pressure that surrounded her just days earlier. Individually, these moments don't confirm anything. But together, they suggest something deeper. Because even in separation,